Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the Naperville Park District Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Today is January 14th, 2016. Time is 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jackie, would you call the roll, please?
President Riley?
Here.
Vice President Janner?
Here.
Commissioner Egan?
Present.
Commissioner Ensign?
Here.
Commissioner Heidi?
Here.
Commissioner Todd?
Here.
Commissioner Young? Here.
We don't have any awards of recognition this evening. Is anyone from the public signed up to speak?
No one.
We'll go on to updates and reports. Start off with the Parks Foundation, Vice President Janner.
Thank you, President Riley. The Parks Foundation Board met on Tuesday, January 12th at the Rubin Community Center, 5:15 p.m. Discussion surrounded a couple of main topics. First, the Winter Ale Fest, a little bit about that. February 27th, 2016 at Frontier Park. It's operated by a third party called Lou Dog Events. The Ale Fest is expected to generate $6,000 in revenue for the Parks Foundation, which will be used for matters such as scholarships for residents here that may need that. Information on the Winter Ale Fest can be found at napervillewinteralefest.com. We also talked about ways for citizens to give to the foundation and the best ways to do that. We talked about being able to make a gift to the foundation by checking a box when registering for a Naperville Park District program. The consensus of the board was that a $5 ask might be more effective than $10 or $20, but the board certainly acknowledged that staff was most qualified to make this decision. Finally, we talked about board cultivation. Commissioner Ensign and I were tasked with coming up with a list of names of leaders in the community, possible Naperville Parks Foundation board members moving forward, people that could tell a vigorous story about the Park District and the value of the Park District here in the community. So if anybody here tonight can think of anybody that might enjoy participation and benefit in serving on the Parks Foundation Board, please let Commissioner Ensign or I know. Thank you.
Next, we have the Finance Committee update from Commissioner Young.
Thank you, President Riley. The Finance Committee met today at 1 o'clock. The 2015 audit has begun. The auditor started this week for a preliminary audit and will be back again in February. The entire process should wrap up towards the end of May or June. Of interesting note for changes this year is GASB 6768, which requires that we note pension obligations in our financials. The committee is reviewing the district's financial policies. We do this annually. Staff and Ansel Glink has provided us with some very minor modifications. These changes and any suggested edits by the committee will be presented to the full board at the next workshop. The committee discussed a list of the top 10 internal controls that Director Stanish came across recently. We found that we comply with each of them, which is reassuring. However, staff will continue to be sensitive to and look for instances where errors could occur as a result of a lack of checks and balances. Finally, I'll send a shout out to Sue Omenson, Director Stanish, and their entire staff for meeting the requirements of the PAFR program for 2014. PAFR stands for Popular Annual Financial Report. The Government Finance Officers Association established the Popular Annual Financial Reporting Awards Program in 1991 to encourage and assist state and local governments to extract information from their comprehensive annual financial report to produce high-quality popular annual financial reports specifically designed to be readily accessible and easily understandable to the general public and other interested parties without a background in public finance, and then to recognize those individual governments that are successful in achieving that goal. This is the third time that Naperville Park District has won this distinction, so very good. That's it.
Thank you. Next, we'll have the Legislative Committee update from Vice President Janner.
Thank you, President Riley. The Legislative Committee met on Thursday, January 14th, 2016 at 6 p.m. For those of you that have graduated from a paper calendar to one of the electronic calendars, you will note that that was just about an hour ago. We covered some important topics, including the Illinois House and Senate calendar, our strategy for inviting key legislators to the annual State of the Park District event on February 6th, as well as developing a list of key talking points for all of us commissioners as we interact with our legislators, including property taxes, the value the Naperville Park District provides the community, especially at a time when government consolidation seems to be a hot topic, and then celebrating our 50th anniversary, as well as the upcoming of our activity center. So this list will be refined by the committee and circulated to all commissioners here shortly, and the next meeting of the Legislative Committee will be in March 2016. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Parks and Recreation Committee. Commissioner Heidi.
Thank you, President Riley. The Parks and Recreation Committee last met on December 18th, and our discussion centered on several items. The first topic was program guide delivery. This operation has traditionally been accomplished through hand delivery. It's been determined that this method is no longer efficacious, and we will be exploring the use of a contractor to deliver the guides through a certified mail process. Although the upfront expense will be incrementally more, we will experience a rapid return on investment, and the new process will provide valuable data points relative to our residents' use of the Park District. We also reviewed the current recreation programming plan. This plan was last updated on May of 2014, and while it's extremely comprehensive and remains highly relevant, will be updated next year as part of the CAPRA certification process. We discussed the renaming of the lacrosse fields to honor our own Kirsten Young's late father-in-law, Bill. Bill was an important player relative to both the Park District and Naperville Community School District 203, and we decided that this honor is very fitting. Finally, we received updates from our key departments, and the general theme was that the favorable weather has benefited the district in many ways. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Board President report. 2016 marks the 50th year of the Naperville Park District. You'll be hearing a lot of history throughout the year as we recount milestones and the contributions of numerous citizens. You'll also hear about some exciting developments on the horizon. The Naperville Park District has been a central contributor toward alleviating problems in the community, and we want to stay relevant in the future, so stay tuned for details. Our Park District has been a dues-paying member of the Illinois Association of Park District for several years. After review, the Board of Commissioners decided not to renew our membership for this year. This decision was based on several factors. When we looked at the educational opportunities offered by IAPD, we collectively felt that the seminars offered by our legal counsel, Ansel Glink, who incidentally wrote the book on Illinois Park District law, provided adequate opportunities for commissioners to keep current with their knowledge of the field. When we looked at the structure of the IAPD, we had concerns about the amount of overhead, particularly salary and benefits. We reached out to board members of the IAPD for more information. We got pretty meager response, and the response we did get was sketchy. So all things considered, we decided to move to the sidelines for this year and revisit membership later after we get better information upon which to base a decision. I bring this up tonight because, frankly, it would have gone completely unnoticed by our Park District patrons. No services will change, and the amount of change in our annual budget, approximately $7,000, is barely a blip in cash flow. I mention it because it speaks to the level of oversight this Board of Commissioners brings to the district on an ongoing basis. Large expenditures, such as those associated with the $25 million Fort Hill Activity Center, naturally are watched very closely, but smaller ones, such as this, aren't ignored. We're always checking to make sure our taxpayers and program participants are getting value for their dollar. Next, we'll have our Executive Director update.
Thank you, President O'Reilly. 2016 promises to be a busy and memorable year for the Naperville Park District. All year long, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary and will host a couple of special events for the community. In late spring, the Park District will hold a farewell celebration for the barn with music by local bands and an opportunity to relive some of the history of that facility. Later in the summer, we will hold a grand opening for the Fort Hill Activity Center, which is now under roof with construction going well and on schedule. Our first event to kick off the anniversary year will be the annual State of the Park District Address held on Saturday, February 6th in the Community Hall at the Alfred Rubin Riverwalk Community Center. Everyone is cordially invited to join us for a light breakfast and networking at 8 a.m. The presentation will start at 8:30 a.m. Learn more about the Park District, meet your park commissioners in an informal setting, and enjoy an engaging view of what the Park District has been up to both in the past year and in the past 50 years. If you plan to attend, please RSVP by sending an email to rsvp@napervilleparks.org. Some other January events, the Park District is fortunate to be able to work with the Magical Starlight Theater to offer great community theater for all ages. Tomorrow is opening night for their 2016 musical Mary Poppins, featuring 63 talented community actors. You won't want to miss this fantastic show. Tickets are available at the door for this weekend's performances, and the show continues next weekend as well. Check our website for details at www.napervilleparks.org. Table tennis players of all ages and experience levels are invited to compete in the annual table tennis tournament on Saturday, January 23rd. Players can pre-register for $8 through the Naperville Park District at napervilleparks.org or register on site the day of the tournament. Again, visit our website for further details. Just a reminder that registration is still in progress for the spring season of the Naperville Youth Soccer and Naperville Youth Premier Soccer League, which begins in March. Please note that registration will be taken through February 19th, but be sure to register soon for your best chance of getting the practice location of your choice. Again, more information is available at our website. And finally, the Park District staff has been working hard behind the scenes to implement a new online registration system that is designed to be much more user-friendly and will provide many of the features that residents have been asking for. For example, the new system will enable residents to register online from any wireless device, make a payment, check facility locations, search by participant age, and much more. We look forward to introducing our new registration system called ActiveNet in February, so residents have an opportunity to become familiar with it. Then, beginning March 3rd with the release of the spring program guide, the new system will be ready to use. Watch for communication in the near future coming via email, social media, and more with additional details about this new system. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the treasurer's report.
Move to approve the November 2015 Treasurers Report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Vice President Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Egan,
Aye.
Commissioner Ensign,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidi,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
President Riley.
Yes. Next, we have the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Yes, can we pull item A as in algae and D as in daffodil?
So that's item A and D as in David. Any others to be pulled?
Move to accept consent agenda items B, C, E, and F.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Jackie, call the roll, please.
Vice President Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Egan,
Aye.
Commissioner Ensign,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidi,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
President Riley.
Yes.
Move to approve consent agenda as accepted.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? This is a voice vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
So move on to unfinished business. Move to approve item A, approval of disbursements for the month of December 2015, the amount of $3,055,939.06.
Second.
We have motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Egan.
Thank you. Since the disbursements include the payment of benefits, much like the IAPD, I think they're too high. We just issued a no-bid contract with the healthcare provider, so I'll be voting no on this and going forward until I know it's being looked at, but until we get it under control, I'll be not supporting these expenditures going forward.
Is there any other discussion on the motion?
Commissioner Egan, can you help me connect the healthcare bid and the disbursements?
If we're not getting a good bid on our providers to get the lowest, best cost, our disbursements then are too high.
Well, with all due respect, it's a legal obligation of the Park District to pay it. The contract was already approved. So you're voting to breach the contract. That's what you're saying. I understand your position that you didn't approve the contract, but the corporate body did. You're now saying you're voting no, that it's not a legal obligation or that we should breach the contract. I just want to be clear about your position. A no vote is to breach the contract, not to revisit the contract.
My vote will be no because we didn't bid it out to get the lowest cost provider, and we need to look out for the taxpayers.
Yeah, but that ship left. The body approved the contract. You're voting to breach the contract. I want to be clear about that.
I understand.
Any further discussion? Jackie, would you call the roll, please?
Vice President Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Egan,
No.
Commissioner Ensign,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidi,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
President Riley.
Yes.
Item D, a move to approve Resolution 16-01 to rename the Park District facility located at 441 Aurora Avenue from Riverwalk Eatery to Riverwalk Cafe.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Egan.
Thank you. Along with my lines, my stance against the work against the eatery, we don't need a cafe by any means. We need some basic repairs. This money should be allocated to something that is more useful, in my opinion, or at the very least debated back to the taxpayers to take some of the tax burden off of them. So I'll be voting no.
And you realize this is only for the naming of the facility, has nothing to do with funding or the contracts that have been previously discussed.
I understand that we don't
So-
need a cafe.
So the name on the building is not going to make any difference in its operation.
The change to the building is causing the name change. The work itself has brought the name change forward.
I would think that the name change is separate from any work, but
If we weren't expanding the facility, we wouldn't be changing it to a cafe. The cafe was meant to, the name change is meant to adequately represent the work that is being done, the end state of the cafe.
I think that they're two separate issues, Commissioner Egan, with respect. Any other comments?
Yeah, I would agree. They're two separate issues. The name of the facility, we were talking about the name of the facility in conjunction with the renovations, but you can certainly look at the two separately from a marketing and a business standpoint. You can change the name of something without totally revamping it. So I believe it was a consensus of this group to move forward with the name change, and since a unanimous vote is required, Commissioner Egan, I would ask you to rethink your vote on this one.
Any other discussion on the motion?
I do think that if you look at cafes' revenue across the state of Illinois and eateries' revenue across the state of Illinois, you'll find that there's people who are spending a lot more money in cafes, and so in the interest of the taxpayers, I'd rather change the name to something that might actually enhance revenue, regardless of what other changes we make.
Thank you. Any other commentary?
Dirk, is Commissioner Janner correct that it requires a unanimous vote to go forward?
It does, per the naming policy of the board.
Any further discussion or any other input? Jackie, would you call the roll, please?
Vice President Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensign,
Yes.
Commissioner Egan,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidi,
Yes.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
President Riley.
Yes. Next, the future meetings of the Board of Commissioners. Next regular meeting will be January 28th at 6 p.m., and that will be at the South Maintenance Facility on Book Road. February 11th, we'll meet here again at 7 p.m. February 25th, we'll meet at 6 o'clock at the South Maintenance Facility. Next item we have on the agenda is executive session.
Move to adjourn to executive session to discuss land acquisition under 2C5 of the Open Meetings Act and personnel under 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Jackie, would you call the roll, please?
Vice President Janner,
Yes.
Commissioner Ensign,
Yes.
Commissioner Egan,
Aye.
Commissioner Heidi,
Yes.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Young,
Yes.
President Riley.
Yes.